Hey everyone, I'm Xonani. Welcome back to my new video. Have you ever wondered why so many artists seem to have ADHD or other forms of neurodivergence? It's not just a coincidence. Neurodivergent minds are wired for creativity, deep focus, and unique ways of seeing the world, making art a perfect outlet for self-expression. In this video, I will dive into why so many artists have ADHD or other neurodivergent traits and how these differences can actually be a huge advantage in the creative world. This topic is very personal to me. I've been exploring it deeply ever since I was diagnosed with ADHD last year, and I've noticed that many of my artist friends, or a lot of them, whether in painting, music, or writing, are also neurodivergent. Maybe you're interested in this topic too, or even personally affected by it. That's why I wanted to share what I've learned and start this conversation with you. So let's explore the connection between neurodivergence and art. Many people with ADHD or other forms of neurodivergence are drawn to art for several reasons. Creative thinking and idea generation. One of the biggest strengths of neurodivergent minds is their ability to think outside the box. People with ADHD, for example, are great at making unexpected connections between ideas, which leads to really unique and innovative artwork. Instead of following traditional rules, they often come up with new ways to express themselves. Whether it's through bold color choices, surreal compositions, or completely original art styles. The brain is just wired for creative problem solving, which makes art the perfect outlet. The hyperfocus, a deep immersion in art. A lot of people think ADHD means you can't focus at all, but that's not entirely true. In fact, when someone with ADHD is really interested in something, they can enter a state of hyperfocus, where time disappears and they can work for hours without even realizing it. This is why so many ADHD artists find themselves sketching all night or getting completely lost in a painting. It's an incredible strength because it allows neurodivergent people to dive deep into their creativity and develop skills very quickly. Sensory processing and unique expression. Many neurodivergent people experience the world in a more intense or unique way. Colors might feel more vibrant, textures might be more noticeable, and emotions might be stronger. Art becomes a way to process and express these experiences in a way that words sometimes can't. For example, an artist with heightened sensory perception might create really bold, colorful work, while someone who enjoys repetition might focus on intricate patterns and details. Neurodivergence often brings a fresh perspective, which makes the artwork even more special. The freedom from traditional structures. Let's be honest, school and regular jobs aren't always the best fit for neurodivergent people. They often require rigid schedules, repetitive tasks, and sitting still for long periods, which can be really frustrating for someone with ADHD or autism. Art, on the other hand, provides a flexible and freeing way to work. There are no strict rules, no deadlines, unless you're working professionally, of course, and no one telling you how to create. It allows neurodivergent minds to explore, experiment, and find their own way without feeling restricted. Art as a coping mechanism or emotional outlet. A lot of neurodivergent people experience emotions very deeply, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. Art becomes a way to process those emotions, reduce stress, and find comfort. For some, it's like a form of meditation, like for me, drawing repetitive lines, blending colors, or just letting the mind wander while creating. It's also a great way to express feelings that might be hard to put into words, whether it's sketching to calm anxiety or painting to work through emotions. Art can be an incredible tool for self-care and mental well-being. For me, it's the same every time I get into the flow. My mind finally goes quiet, I feel completely at ease, and I forget about time. It's such a freeing feeling, and I know a lot of other neurodivergent artists experience the same thing. Let's talk about the power of creative therapy. Art isn't just a hobby, it can be a powerful therapeutic tool, especially for neurodivergent minds like those with ADHD or autism. But why does it work so well? It can regulate emotions and reduce stress. Creative activities help to calm the nervous system, reduce anxiety, and provide an outlet of overwhelming emotions. The repetitive motions of drawing or painting can be as soothing as meditation, what we talked about before. It helps to improve the focus and executive functions. Art therapy helps with planning, organization, and problem solving by breaking tasks into smaller steps. It also encourages hyperfocus, making it easier to stay present and engaged. And it's boosting your confidence, and it's good for your self-expression. Many neurodivergent people struggle with self-doubt. Art therapy creates a judgment-free space where creativity flows, building confidence and emotional resilience. So, art therapy isn't just about making pretty pictures, it's a powerful tool for ADHD minds. Whether it's used in professional therapy sessions or just as a personal creative practice, it can help with focus, emotional regulation, and self-expression. Have you ever used art as a way to help with focus or emotions? So, and let's talk about dopamine and art. Have you ever wondered why creative activities feel so exciting and even addictive for some people, especially for those with ADHD? Well, a lot of it comes down to dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical that plays a big role in motivation, focus, and reward. And for people with ADHD, dopamine works a little differently, which is one of the reasons why creativity feels so satisfying and even necessary. ADHD isn't just about being distracted. It's actually linked to a dopamine deficiency in certain areas of the brain. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter responsible for motivation, pleasure, and the feeling of accomplishment when you complete a task. In a neurotypical brain, there's usually a steady flow of dopamine helping with focus and drive. But in an ADHD brain, dopamine levels can be lower or more inconsistent, making it harder to stay motivated. especially with things they aren't immediately interesting. That's why people with ADHD are constantly seeking dopamine boosts, whether through movement, novelty, or, you guess it, creativity. Art, music, writing, and other creative activities are perfect for ADHD brains because they naturally trigger dopamine release. When you start sketching, painting, or creating something new, your brain gets excited. There's an element of novelty, of solving visual problems, of experimenting with colors and shapes, all of which keeps the ADHD brain engaged. And then, when you get into flow state, that moment when you're so deep in your art that everything else fades away, your brain is flooded with dopamine, giving you a sense of calm and focus. That's why so many neurodivergent artists say that creating is one of the only things that makes their mind feel still, like in my case. Let's talk about the dopamine chase. Why starting it's hard, but art is addictive. Because ADHD brains crave dopamine, we tend to chase activities that provide quick bursts of excitement. This is why starting and drawing or painting can sometimes feel impossible, because our brains aren't getting an immediate dopamine hit. But once we actually start to get engaged, it becomes almost impossible to stop. This is also why ADHD artists often have unfinished projects everywhere. The rush of starting something new is exciting, but once that novelty wears off, the dopamine drops, and we are tempted to move on to something else. It's not laziness, it's literally how our brains are wired. So if you are neurodivergent and find yourself drawn to creative activities, it's not just a coincidence, it's actually your brain's way of seeking balance and reward. Creativity is one of the best ways to engage an ADHD brain, providing both stimulation and sense of calm at the same time. I hope this video gave you some insight into the connection between neurodivergence and creativity. Whether you have ADHD, autism, or another form of neurodivergence, or just found this topic interesting. Do you relate to any of these experiences? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, would you like to see more content like this? There's a lot more about We Can Talk. Perhaps you like to hear. Let's continue the conversation in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content about art, creativity, and personal experiences. Thanks for watching and keep creating in your own unique way. Have an awesome week, my friends, and see you next time. Yours, Xunani.